Hey guys, today we're taking a look at my updated Ghostrick deck. Now, a few people wanted me to redo this deck, so I decided to do that. I decided to mix it up, kind of added some new things that I haven't really tried yet, trying a lot of random ideas. Ghostricks are a very interesting archetype, pretty weird. They're a very large archetype in the fact that there's a lot of different ways to run the deck, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit as I go through it. But just keep that in mind. There's various builds and there's various win conditions and different things you couldn't try to do with the deck. So I'll try to go through that, but keep that in mind. If you do want to build this deck in the future, you're not limited by some of the things that I'm doing. But I'm going for a more traditional build, but I am doing some, cool stuff on the side that I haven't seen as many people try. So first off, I'm going to be running one Ghostrick Doll, a pretty nice card to have situationally to make plays for you, really cool. Ghostrick Ghoul, I really like having like two of this card because it kind of gives you access to a beater regardless of what's going on, which is very nice, one of the things that Ghostricks tend to lack. Two Ghostrick Jackfrost, just a really useful card overall. Three Jiangshi. Jiangshi is really useful just to search out what you need, very, very nice. Two Lantern, also another very useful card. These direct attack kind of defense, kind of hand trap cards can be very useful for setting up what you need with Ghostricks. One Mary, another thing to search out, which is very nice. Two Ghostrick Mummy, give you a little bit of swarming, which is nice in case you want to get your XYZs out. Not an essential card, but can be useful. We're also running two, I hope I can pronounce this, Nekomusume, I think is how you say it. I think it was called Cat Lady in the OCG or something like that, or Cat Girl. This card is meant to create sort of a lockdown with Ghostrick Knight, and I'll talk about that a little bit. But that's one of the more kind of unique things I'm trying out with the deck that I haven't seen a lot of people run, but I think it's kind of a fun idea. Three Ghostrick Specter, pretty much staple because of how useful he is, and two Ghostrick Stein. One of the stronger cards that you do have access to. Very nice to search out the field card, and it's good. Usually you'll get your damage in when you already have the field card out, but you do want backups of the field card in your hand in case it gets destroyed. The field card is going to get MST'd all the time because that's the main power behind most Ghostrick decks. So now for the spells, one of Allure of Darkness giving us some consistency, two Book of Life, very nice to summon back those zombies. Three Ghostrick Mansion, pretty much the key card of the deck, just allowing you to go over your opponent very nicely and kind of defend and win overall just through persistence, really a very nice card overall. One Pot of Duality, you could run two. My second is kind of Allure of Darkness, but both helping us with consistency. One Raigeki, I would say not to run Dark Hole in this deck specifically because it relies on a lot of field presence. I'd say my Raigeki is kind of taking the place of a Needle Sealing, which is also very useful. Three Swords of Concealing Light, staple card for this deck, just really, really useful. You want to put them all in defense mode. For the traps, we're going to be running a lot of Ghostrick cards, not really too many staples in this deck because it's so aimed at what you're trying to do. One Fiendish Chain, two Ghostrick Knight. This is the card that I haven't seen a lot of people run, but I'm messing with it. It creates a sort of a lockdown with Nekomusume, which is really crazy, and that you can keep your opponent from flip summoning, and if it does get destroyed, you do have kind of the backup defense. So it's a very nice card in this combo, and I really love trying to mess with this and see how it works. It can interfere with some of the other things you're trying to do in the deck, but it's just kind of an alternate thing you can do that can lead to some big, big power. And then two Ghostrick Scare, just very useful in this deck. One Ghostrick Vanish. You could definitely run three Ghostrick Scare because of how good it is, and you could definitely run two Ghostrick Vanish. I just really didn't have room for that, but that's an option. One Ghostrick Go Around, another really useful card. I'd say to run one of this. Very good. One Needle Sealing. Again, like I said, Raigeki's taking the place of one. I'd probably run two otherwise. And one Solemn Warning. Just one of the staples, the one that will probably be most useful for this deck dealing with something that gets summoned that'll really, really mess with you. So now for the extra deck, we're going to be running one Downerd Magician. I find that's really useful in this deck just to break through defense and bring up from your lower level XYZs. Three Alucard, three Dullahan. We have a lot of room in the extra deck for things, so I thought might as well run three Alucard and three Dullahan. Extremely useful with some of the plays we want to make. They combo really well with Ghoul, and they also allow you to get your field cards, so they're really great cards overall. And then two Socuteboss. Socuteboss is a really, really interesting card, allowing you to have some access to destruction, which usually you don't get with rank 2. So very, very nice card. And because I'm running Nekomusume, I do have access to getting this out. Two might be a bit much, but I'm still messing around with it. So you can always run, other XYZs if you want. One Leviair, one Anginer, one Leviathan, one Utopia, Slack Magician, Zenmaines. Really not much to say. A lot of staple ones are ones that I just find really useful in this deck type. So now for the side deck, if you haven't seen a video of mine before, in the side deck I kind of just go through other recommended cards, other interesting stuff for the deck, just some ideas I'm throwing out there. not meant to be a side deck for matches. So Dark Arm Dragon, I don't think I'd recommend for this deck. Even though it's a dark deck, it's because the graveyard isn't really something you can control too much, but it can be useful for this deck. Ghostrick Skeleton. So this card specifically is aimed at a different variation on the deck. It's a mill kind of Ghostrick. If you want to try Ghostrick Mill, you run Skeleton, stall cards, and you can do a really crazy mill. Just not what I'm doing, but if I was, I'd run that card. Ghostrick Warwolf, again aimed at a very different type of Ghostrick build, trying to burn your opponent. So, additionally, there's a bunch of other ways to run Ghostricks, and you could think about those cards when you're doing that. Ghostrick Witch, it's actually a really good card. I actually would like to run this at 1 or 2. I just don't have room. If I wasn't trying out like the cat lady kind of mixture thing, I'd probably run 1 or 2 of this. Yeti, I don't think is that useful. Yuki-Onna is a interesting one. Definitely consider running this at 1 or 2. Tour Guide, if you want to do more rank 3 spam and get out Alucard, that's another way to run that if you want. I'm running more pure Ghost Tricks. Book of Moon can be a really good card in this deck. I kind of wish I had room for it. Creature Swap, obviously, all the Ghost Tricks have low attack. This could be very powerful. There are other Ghost Trick field cards. Parade is really, really nice if you want to kind of do the additional plays you're going to do with some of the milling or burning, so that's an interesting choice. Ghost Trick Museum is just another alternative, but I'm not the biggest fan of it. You could also run this deck with rank ups. That's another way to run this deck. I'm kind of like Burning Abyss, but not really what I'm trying to do here. Recurring Nightmare can help you get back stuff from the graveyard. Some of the Ghost Tricks do have 0 defense, so that's pretty nice. And there's a couple OCG cards that could be useful. Ghost Trick Break is definitely interesting. I feel like this will allow you to make some really good plays, so if this comes out, it'll be very interesting. And Ghost Trick Dork Lord is really crazy. It gives you an alternate win condition, so Ghost Tricks will have another way to run this deck. So this looks really fun, and I really would like trying to build a deck around this, this card specifically at some point. So that's my Ghost Trick deck. Again, pretty simple variation on the Ghost Tricks, just trying to do what they try to do, which is, switch things to defense, going for the attack, pretty normal. But again, there's so many builds. I don't want people to be limited by just what they see. I would love to try the other builds at some point. I just usually don't have time to do that many variations on one deck type. But I hope that people out there can mess around with what Ghost Tricks can do and really try out all the different builds, because they're a really large archetype in terms of win conditions and in terms of what they can do. And because of that, your creativity can just kind of go wild with this deck. But if you do have any suggestions for me, or maybe those other deck types that I haven't really messed with, you can post below. Let me know in the comments. Make some suggestions for me. I'll definitely take a look at that and think about adding that stuff to my deck, or maybe in a new variation at some point. But that's about it for me. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.